So you said you have trouble concentrating?
Yeah, I mean, I lose track of what I'm saying sometimes, and I'll, forget mid-sentence, I have to backtrack, and then I'm, of course, anxious because it's like, great, I can't stay focused then. So it's just, I feel like I'm letting my students down. Like, I mean, not that I assume they necessarily care whether or not I'm staying on task, but I'm trying to teach them this material, and how can I teach them this material if I can't even remember what I'm talking about?
So you feel like you're letting your students down. Why do you feel that way?
Well, it's just because I'm not doing as well as I think I should with, getting my material together and staying organized and presenting it to them and coming up with the materials. And I mean, half of my students are failing right now. Like, almost 50% of the class is failing.
Okay.
And I think I'm doing an okay, I try and explain something to them, and I think I've taught them well. And then they just don't get it. They're sitting there and they want me to spoon feed them every answer. So I don't know. I guess I just don't feel like I'm doing as well as at being a teacher as I wish I was, or think I should.
So, what do you think that you need to do in order to be a better teacher?
Be more organized and be able to concentrate and, I don't know, somehow present this material so that they'll actually get it. I'd like to be the teacher who can, come up with interesting projects and get the kids involved and get them to sort of get into the material and understand it better. And that just takes so much time and energy that I don't feel like I have most of the time. And so I guess I just kind of feel like I'm failing.
So you said, and you've said, we've talked about this, we've hit this word organization a lot in our time together. And what does organized look like to you? What do you think an organized teacher does?
I think they can actually find things on their desk.
Okay, so they have their desk.
Yeah, their stuff is actually in order.
Okay.
They actually know what they're going to be talking about the next day, and maybe even maybe even at the beginning of the week, they already know what they're going to be covering in the classes for that week. Whereas I feel like half the time I barely know what I'm going to do the next day, or sometimes I'm coming into school and I don't know what I'm going to teach that day.
Okay.
So I feel like I start out so behind that there's no good way to catch up and suddenly be on top of things.
Okay.
And when I do finally, and when I'm on those occasions where I am caught up with everything that's supposed to already be done, I'm actually at that point where everything that needs to be done is already done. I'm so exhausted that I don't want to start working on the next week.
So you'd like to have your workspace organized?
Yeah.
In a neat.
That'd be nice, being able to find the papers and tests that you're looking for.
Absolutely.
So on and so forth.
And you'd like to be prepared ahead of time for what the next day is going to bring. Okay.
That way maybe I wouldn't be so worried about it all the time. It's just
right. Well, just think about your life in general. Do you feel that in any areas you're prepared, or you feel like you're organized, or is every part of your life completely unorganized?
I feel like it used to be organized.
Okay.
Because this is a second job for me.
Okay.
This is I switched career or whatever, and I feel like, in my previous job, I feel like I was, organized on top of things, and back when my husband and I would actually go on trips, and when we were volunteering and such, I planned out everything in advance. We were going to do this at this time, this at this time, and I would have everything that we would need all lined up, and I'd be able to find everything. So I was a very very organized, very prepared, and very much a pre-planned kind of person. Like, I want everything completely set out beforehand and be able to handle whatever would come up. And it just, somewhere with then becoming a teacher and then going back to school and all this stuff, it just sort of collapsed.
Is there a particular reason why you chose to go back to school at this point in your life?
Well, when I was younger, I always wanted to be a teacher, but at the time they were all like, oh no, don't be a teacher, don't be a teacher, everybody's becoming teachers, go into something else. So I didn't. And then where I was working, they moved the company to a different state, like other side of the country, different state. And so, I had a choice where I could go and move and go live there or stay here. My husband and I decided that we were going to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
So then I decided, okay, well, I'm going to become a teacher. So I went back to school a little bit for that, but then, now obviously I'm teaching, and I wanted to get my master's partially because the pay grade is higher if you have your master's degree, which would help us out financially quite a bit. Also, it's just, I feel like having that more knowledge about the subject and teaching would help make me a better teacher, which I would like to be.
Okay. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
What I want you to consider when you leave here today is, how do you think things would improve, or do you think things would improve? Just consider if things would improve if you had less on your plate. Just consider that. Give that some thought. This, over the next week when you're, in your leisure. I know that's funny, but yeah, just give that some thought, and then maybe try to consider if you feel like the payoff is greater for the pay grade. Is it gonna really be better, or is it making things worse, or just kind of weigh where you are with that. But for now, I want to talk a little bit more about what you said as far as how you were organized in the past. I mean, because I think that's an important thing. I think that's an important thing to consider, is that you can be organized. You had a lot of things going on, and you were working, and your husband was working, you were volunteering, and so there was a lot on both of your plates even then. So what is it you think that's different now that keeps you from being as organized, even though you seem to be just as busy now as you were then? What has changed?
Well, I think my health problems have contributed. Also, I don't think that I was always a pretty intelligent person, and I don't think that I have as much of that anymore, which frustrates me because, things that I used to be able to do in my head just fine and remember forever, it's just, I just can't do it anymore. And that frustrates me a lot, but I think that helped contribute to my ability to organize and keep track of things. So I do think that's part of it. Also, I wasn't the only one who was more organized then. My husband was more organized then too, at least a little bit. We were more involved. We were doing things together. There was more of that going on, and sometimes so I feel like that's sort of somewhere where we've both sort of declined in that way. The difference is he doesn't care and I do. I don't think he minds that he's not organized and doesn't keep track of things. And granted, I was always the one who was more organized, but so I don't think it bothers him that stuff has progressed like this, whereas it bothers me.
So what I hear you saying is that you feel frustrated because you feel like you used to be able to keep track of your life, and your health problems have kind of taken away your ability to do that. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.